Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Spreaker, and more. Why so many places? Oh, I'm just so tired of listening to people wake up in the morning, turn on the news, and then start screaming, "What's wrong with people?" So I wanted to have a show that didn't talk about the headlines. It's always a joke. You don't talk about the headlines? Really? What do you talk about? Like there's nothing else to talk about? Honey, ciao. There's so much to talk about. There's so much good in the world. There's so many solutions. That's why I made this show. And 702 consecutive weeks later, I'm still going. And I'm so delighted to tell you that next week on Tuesday, it will be show number 1,500. And in my gratitude sandwich, I will tell you what the guest is that is coming on. I almost forgot that where we were and who I am and who's in studio with me for a second there. You know who she is. It's a wonderful Wednesday, our hump series called Doctors in the House with myself and
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
Who is she? She's a U.S. Navy veteran, a published author, retired OBGyn from Compton, California, playwright, singer, poet, songwriter, and much more. She's a published author of several books, actually a lot of books. Her first one was a poetry book, and then followed by a plethora of really good children's books that help you have safe and important discussions with your kids, including stuff about touching and money and all kinds of useful and good doctor kind of thing for your kids. Her latest new book, her latest new hat that is being thrown in the ring is she's running for Congress, and we'll hear more about that during the break. However, right now, I would like to welcome back to my studio, Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
Happy Wednesday, everyone. I hope you're having a great week so far, and it is a pleasure to be here, letting you hear my voice and letting it ring in your ear.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a ring announcer by the time that intro's over. But we're going to start with breakfast. I just had my sip of coffee, accompanied by taking a bite out of our gratitude sandwich this morning. Top of the bun. Things that we're grateful for when we look outside of ourselves. You like that new audio visual thing. And then the bottom of the bun is what we like inside of ourselves. So
makes me think of Gilligan's Island.
I miss her. You know, Dawn was on my show like 8 times and we were friends, but I digress. We're going to have breakfast right now. Dr. Tiffanie, on the top of the bun, what are you grateful for?
Well, as usual, I have been a very, very busy bee. And remember a few weeks ago, I was honored by the city of Long Beach, and I received many awards. One was by the mayor of the city of Long Beach, and I actually had an opportunity to see him again because one of my friends was sworn in as an attorney, and he was sworn in by the mayor, Mayor Rex, who is a very nice man. And
he also knows me. I didn't realize that what are you doing in my part of the town getting an award? I haven't got an award from my part of the town. Anyways.
Hey, I was honored for my patience, and you tend
Oh,
to lack in that area.
good one. That was a good one. I'll give you a moose drop on that one. Okay.
And so it was really nice because he was sworn in as an attorney. And so congratulations, Blake. Shout out to Blake. And so I've known him ever since he was a young lad. And what is amazing is that in their district attorney's office, they only do misdemeanors, and they actually rehabilitate the people who get misdemeanors. And I think that that is a wonderful way to rehabilitate people back into society. And they have their own office, and so it's different from other cities, and I think that that's remarkable. So I applaud the city of Long Beach for what they are doing, and I'm still grateful for being recognized by the city of Long Beach as well as the city of Los Angeles.
That's awesome, Dr. Tiffany. Like I said, there's so much good going on that we can focus on. I am grateful for my guest that's coming on to celebrate my show podcast number 1500. Her name is Michael Learned, and you may remember her as the mom on the Waltons, the classic TV show. She was also the grandmother of Jeffrey Dahmer that was played on Netflix. So from one extreme to the other, from the wholesome to the not so wholesome.
Right.
And that show, did you watch it?
Yes. Both of them.
It got 1 billion views. Isn't that crazy? So I had her on as a panel when the Waltons were celebrating, I think 50 years or something big like that. And so I had maybe 6 or 7 of them from the Waltons, and she was one of them. And I've been wanting to invite her back, but she wasn't, accepting stuff. And then I said, for my 1500 show, and she graciously agreed. So excited about that. What else are you grateful for?
I am grateful that I also had the opportunity, like I said, I had a very busy weekend, to write postcards for the Vote Yes on Prop 50 campaign. So if you happen to receive a postcard that says volunteer Tiffany, that's from me. And so that was very fun. I had the opportunity to meet some wonderful volunteers as well, because I am a people person. When I was practicing, I loved taking care of patients, and I think that that's what is going to help to make me a great representative, because you have to be able to interact with people and have a desire to interact with people.
Yes, absolutely. I am grateful that yours truly won her first Mahjong Underground heavyweight title belt champion in Mahjong on Sunday in downtown or Chinatown. I love the fact that it's being revitalized with young blood. And I started playing when I was grounded from going on world tour, and I had to give up sailboat racing. And I thought to myself, what do I love doing? I love playing Mahjong. So I found 3 great organizations in LA, and I just mastered one. I went and it was so fun. And you know how much I love winning. So if you go to my social, you'll see me acting a fool in Chinatown. What else are you grateful for? One more.
Okay, and all of this is on Saturday. I had like 4 events on Saturday.
Wow.
So then, right, I didn't get to Sunday. So then Saturday night, I went to a poetry slam, and I read a poem from my poetry book, my very first book, 108 Poetic Flows on Life, Love, and Liturgical Issues. And it was met with a resounding applause and snaps, and they loved my poetry, and it was very enlightening, encouraging, and entertaining. And since they were very applicable to it, I felt all the warm and fuzzies.
That's awesome. All right, my last gratitude for this morning is the Newport Beach Film Festival is starting this Thursday. Yep, once a year I get to be one of the show sponsor. I get to give away tickets, but I get to be a sponsor of the Chinese Spotlight film, and this year's no exception. I'm so excited and grateful that I get to go support diversity. Greg does an amazing job with this film festival and the incredible, diverse. And then there's going to be a Pacific Showcase Gala again. Lion dancers, beautiful traditional Asian dance of many different flavors, and then me on the red carpet, both walking and covering it. So meet me. Go get your tickets right now for Newport Beach Film Festival. I'll give you a discount code. I think I'm getting it tomorrow so that we can all party. And there's a pair of tickets that I'm going to give away next Monday, which is worth almost $1,000, I think.
Mm.
So something to listen for on Monday. So that's my last gratitude / commercial. Let's go to the bottom of the bud. It's weightlifting for you and your mental health. What do you like about yourself so that you're not shitting on yourself before you go to bed tonight? What did I do this? Or why did I say this and I shouldn't have? Or who done me wrong? And I guarantee if that's how you're going to bed, you're not going to get a good night's sleep. You probably have problems falling asleep. So what we want to do is ask you, what do you like about yourself? Because then you can go, you know what? I'm not all bad. In fact, I'm a lot of good. 88% fabulous. 12% of the time I step in it. Those are my stats. So Dr. Tiffanie, what do you like about yourself?
I like the fact that I'm able to spread a little bit of Tiffany love all around. Like I said, I was hopping this weekend. I had multiple events on Saturday. I had multiple events on Sunday, at least like 3 or 4 events on Saturday, the same thing on Sunday. And I was able to spread a little bit of Tiffany love all around. And I appreciate the fact that I was able to do that. I was able to say, okay, I'm going to go here for this amount of time, here for this amount of time, and here for this amount of time, and know when to say when.
Well, at some point we can't say when we're in the middle of it, but Dr. Tiffany and I share the I can do that now. What was it you wanted? So it's that shy Leo thing. Anyways, I appreciate my ability to make up new words and play with words and have my own Marissa-ism dictionary. It brings me a lot of joy to wake up or in the middle of a meditation go, oh, I can now. I'll have to look it up. What I wrote down this morning, it was brilliant. But I appreciate my ability to be creative with words. What else are you grateful for about yourself?
Yes. And I am grateful that I am able to be a good support. And I say that because this week, Mia has been like, hey, mom, can you listen to this? Hey, mom, can I get your advice on that? And I know that some parents may be like, no, honey, I'm too busy. Come back, circle back. And I was able to take the time and say, no, I'm going to put my stuff on the back burner and take the time for my youth, my young adult. And I think it's important to prioritize our children because when they want your advice, it's a good time to give it and set an example, because if you don't give it, somebody else might, and it may not be good. And so I think it's important to show them that they are important. And I like the fact that I was able to do that.
Awesome. I appreciate that I have been a good mom, and I can say that about myself, for myself, without looking for validation from my kids. So no matter what phase they're in, if they're in their teenagers or in their, whatever they are, wherever they are, it doesn't change that I did the best that I could with the time that I had, the resources I had. Actually, I did a really good job because I had to pick up some slack from my husband, who was a great dad for the first 6 years. And then I don't know what happened, but yeah, well, the divorce happened and I had to pick up the slack, but I'm grateful that I know to the bottom of my soul that I am a good mom.
Well, I'm going to pick up what we learned last week. Way to go, me.
Nice. Way to go, me. I like it. Last one from you.
And I like the fact that when people need me and request, aside from my children, I am still able to lend an ear, because some people just want to be heard. And sometimes they don't necessarily need advice. I'm willing to be quiet and listen. And a lot of times we want to talk. And I think it's important to know that we have one mouth, two ears, so we should listen more than we speak. And
What?
it's right. And I think it's important for us to remember that sometimes people don't necessarily need advice. They just want to be heard. And I've needed to do that quite a few times, not just on the campaign trail, but just for friends and for family. And I think it's important to just be a listening ear sometimes and not always give advice. And I like the fact that I can also do that.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't give advice unless someone's paying me for it. That keeps my mouth shut. Excuse me. And that's it for breakfast this morning. Thanks for joining us. I am here every weekday morning with breakfast starting every show. So please do join me. Can you turn your volume down just a bit? I'm getting that feedback again. Yeah, join me. It's a good life habit, a hashtag Blisscipline, that you can start your day in the most positive way. So thanks for joining us for breakfast. And now for the topic of the day. Dr. Tiffanie, what are we talking about today? Hold on.
Hey, you! Hey! Hey, you!
Dun, dun. We are talking about boundaries, rules, and expectations.
In other words, brie. We're going to cut some cheese in the studio today.
And not cutting the cheese.
We might cut a little cheese. We never know what's gonna happen with Dr. Tiffanie and I in the house. I have to say, I forgot to say, I appreciate that I'm not an MD because poor doctor, I get a dose of this because, when you're an MD and people know you're an MD, the first thing, I didn't even say good morning to her this morning. And I just launched into some physical thing that I'm going through. And I thought, well, that was rude, but I'm glad I'm a PhD instead of an MD. And that's not like a normal thing. Although I have to say, since she does have the P word, she's the best person to be a doctor because she really actually likes it when people ask her advice. Right? So
I'm used to it, so it's okay.
Yeah. It would drive me forking crazy. Anyways, except when I ask myself, boundary, rules, and expectations. Why are we talking about that?
We are talking about this because I've noticed that sometimes people use them interchangeably and get them confused. And when that happens, they don't necessarily know how to apply them to their lives. And when people apply them incorrectly, they cannot execute them properly. And when they don't execute them properly, their relationships end up all messed up.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, things that make you go, hmm. And so I know that when I'm talking to my children, okay, and I use that term loosely since they're in their 20s,
Mhm.
I was like, okay, this is something that if I'm having to deal with my young adults with, other people are probably having to deal with them themselves and with their children and their youths. So this might be a good topic for us to smack it, flip it up, and rub it down.
I knew that was coming up soon. What I got when you were talking, and there's the siren acknowledging that this is an important topic, is like, where do you draw the line? Like, that's the line. I never got that when you first texted me the topic, but I get that now. It's like a different ways of drawing the line. So cool. So I'm sure you have some definitions.
I definitely have some definitions. I have a few statistics. I have a lot of different stuff because basically boundaries are personal limits. They can be emotional, physical, mental. Rules are basically agreed upon guidelines in a relationship or a system. And expectations are hopes or standards that we anticipate from others. So those are basically how we can apply them. And that's not how we necessarily use them realistically. So a boundary guides your own personal behavior. And a lot of times they're like, okay, a boundary is something we're trying to impose on somebody else.
Right.
That's how we've usually been using them. But usually it's something that's a personal thing. And so a rule is something that you definitely use for somebody else, not necessarily the boundary. So they go hand in hand, but a lot of times we've been using those so loosely that it doesn't necessarily go together. So a boundary would be, it would sound like this. I'm not going to respond to a text after 10 o'clock.
That's a boundary.
Yes.
For yourself.
For yourself.
Okay. Yeah, because usually the word boundary has been thrown around, flipped upside, slapped, or whatever you say, for the last year or so, when people say I'm learning how to draw boundaries. So you think it's against somebody else, but you're saying it's actually for yourself. What am I willing to accept and not accept? A good distinction.
And so here's a rule that you can impose for other. So you can say, okay, you cannot email me after 6 o'clock p.m. for work or for anything else. So that can be a rule. Say, okay, if you email me after 6, I'm not going to respond to any emails. That's a rule. That's something you're imposing on somebody else. So you can say that's the rule. So the distinction between the boundary is it's a focus on what you will do, and while the rule focuses on what somebody else is going to do.
So, practical example, I just started maybe this year using the notification silencer, right? So, swiping and putting in do not disturb, never used to do that. And people would text me or call me during the show. I've been doing the show how long now? 9 to 10 every single morning live. Don't you remember this? And then people, they're imperfect, and also their lives is not to revolve around mine. So then my boundary, see if I get this distinction right, my boundary is do not disturb me during the show 9 to 10. So I put on the notifications for myself, right? And then the rule is when someone consistently violates that, and let's say I forget to put the notifications on and it dings, I text them and say, hey, I know you're not doing this on purpose, but could you please not contact me between 8:30 and 10:30 when I'm in show prep and show, whatever sequence. That's a rule. Did I get that right?
Absolutely.
So what I do, and then what I ask them to do or not to do.
Yeah, as well. And then that comes in then you have the expectation, because the expectation is the internal hope. So the internal hope is that what you hope the other person is going to do. there's that expectation that there's going to be some compliance. So you often explicitly communicate
Uh-huh.
with them what you would like for them to do. And so there's this, like a train, you could think of it like a train track.
Okay.
You have your own personal boundary,
Mhm.
and then you have the rule, and then you have this expectation.
Got it.
So it's like, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And so this can happen within families, within friendships, within relationships, and within jobs. And so you can reflect on your history, and you can reflect on your current situation, and you can reflect on your future about how you would like things to go.
Got it. You got a siren of truth that was a little louder than normal, so I put myself on mute, which is not easy to do. Okay, so I get it. The expectation is sorry. The boundaries for me, the rule is communicated to you, and the expectation is the hope. Now I understand the why you said hope is the hope that they will honor your boundary and your rule. And then the third caboose train is hoping that you will care about me enough to honor that.
Mhm.
Right. And, if you're a bratty kid, like I had this interchange on a dating messaging, so that app did not have a way for us to video chat. And so what I've been doing is saying, if you don't mind, if you give me your number, and I promise not to put it on the bathroom wall, then we can FaceTime or whatever. And that was my boundary, which is I'd like to have their number. I don't want to give my number first, right? And then the rule was, give me your number, right? And then the hope expectation was that he would just and 99 times guys have just given me their number, no problem. This ding dong goes give me your number. And I said, oh, I was hoping that you would give me your number first. And he goes, ladies first, right? And I just unmatched, because if it's that problematic in the first two exchanges of now certainly text and no context, maybe he was trying to be funny, but in his profile the first line was, I've received the certificate of good lookingness or handsome or something like that. So I went, okay, this is consistent. You've got a peripherally located ego, and I don't need to continue down this road. Good luck.
Yes. So those are mismatched expectations.
Understatement
Definitely.
of the morning.
Yes. So yeah, sometimes you have mismatched expectations. And when you have mismatched expectations, that can be problematic.
Well, it's
And
data.
when that happens, you can decide, do I want to waste my energy or do I want to move on? And it is okay to move on because you want to protect your peace.
Yeah.
And then what happens when you have a friend who pushes your limits?
What friend?
Right?
Well, like I said, that brattiness, some people are just like, if you say, don't do that, just to be funny, they'll do it. Right. Ha ha. Like that's a joke, which drives me crazy. Like there's so much other great fun ways to laugh. Like this is not one of them, but it's the bully behavior, I believe, that, if you tell me what not to do, I'm going to do it just to annoy you.
Mm-hmm.
And those are not the kind of people that you want to have around you. Maybe once in a blue moon, but usually those are the kind of people, in my experience, who dish it out, but they can't take it themselves. So that's definitely not the kind of person that I want to have around me.
Absolutely. When they ignore your boundaries or disrespect your boundaries, I think you have to decide, is this something you want to tolerate, or do you want to just ignore it, or do you want to address it head on, and communicate how you feel? That's important.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I am grateful. Oh, so where was I? We have to take a break. Is what I was going to say. It's time to pause for news, weather, and traffic. And a word from our sponsor. But don't go away, because we'll be right back. In two and two, Chuck Woolery used to say. But it's peace in, peace out. Don't go away. We'll be right back for more Doctors in the House with myself and
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
Hello, my name is Dr. Tiffanie Tate, and I am running for the United States House of Representatives, California's 41st District. As a veteran, I understand the needs and the United States Constitution, and I will represent you and fight for your rights. As a physician, I understand healthcare and healthcare policy, and I will advocate for better medical care. As a mom and American citizen, I understand the needs of the family and the economy, and I will advocate for you and a better economy. Vote for me. Visit my website at Dr. Tate for Congress. That is DrTateForCongress.com. Learn more about me. Veteran, author, physician, mom. Donate to my campaign. Send me to Congress. I have been to the state capitol and advocated for education, and I will go to Capitol Hill and advocate for you. Vote for me, Dr. Tiffanie Tate. Help me help you. Paid for by Dr. Tate for Congress.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, home to the Asian Oprah, number one talk in the IE. Thank you very much. And streaming everywhere, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course my YouTube TV channel, where if you free subscribe, you'll get an alert every weekday morning at 9 Pacific time to tune into a show about hope and happiness. This my 702nd consecutive week on the air, on camera. Next week, we will hit milestone show podcast number 1,500. And we passed the 4.1 million impression mark on my YouTube TV channel. So I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you so much for continuing to support positive shows and topics and series. And today's no exception. We have in studio live my co-host for this very special series in the middle of the week called Doctors in the House with myself and
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
And today, what are we talking about?
We are talking about boundaries, rules, and expectations.
And if you missed the first half, you can always get the complete interview, of course, on the playlist list on my YouTube TV channel called Doctors in the House. And as I understand it, there's a 3-step, all those terms I've been using interchangeably. See if I'm a good student here, Dr. Tiffanie. The boundary is something I set for myself and honor my own wishes. Rules are what I communicate to the other person in asking them to respect that boundary. That's the rule. And the expectation is the hope part. You're hoping that whoever is listening or who you're giving the rule to will respect you enough to honor that rule. And I say that with a asterisk because sometimes when they don't honor your rule, it isn't personal. For whatever reason, they can't do it. And I think we get our undies in a bunch sometimes, because if I asked you to do this 1,000 times, and why are you still doing it? You know better. Why do you keep crossing my boundary? Why do you not attend to my rule? Why? And you know, it's like a frustrating, frankly, they just can't. And so why do you keep going to the tractor for milk to try to get them to change in a way that they'll never be able to? And that's been my experience.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? It says that the vast majority of Americans understand how important boundaries are. And most Americans, about 89%, and they said, give or take 57 to 32, say setting personal boundaries in romantic relationships is either very or somewhat important.
What's a romantic relationship?
Say if they're dating someone.
I'm just kidding.
Right. And then they say the comfort level, about 82% of Americans are either very or somewhat comfortable setting boundaries in romantic relationship. And in 2023, a survey found that 78% of people were working on setting healthy boundaries. So sometimes you can have healthy boundaries and unhealthy boundaries, but there is also a generational difference that they found. Yeah. So the younger generation, they struggle more with saying no and setting boundaries, to the tune of 64% of Gen Z and 59% of our millennials reported difficulty, compared to 55% of Gen X and 42% of baby boomers. So we don't have a problem saying no.
That's so strange. I would have never guessed that, because I work with a lot of executive coaching who say that their biggest headache right now is millennials and Gen Z, that first class you said, actually the whole of them, anything that is not a baby boomer, that they have no problems setting boundaries and communicating rules. I don't want to work overtime. I don't want to stay.
But that's not in relationships.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if we as parents have to do better in communicating about relationships to our children. I think
did they give any examples on that?
Unfortunately they did not, but they just said communicating in romantic relationships, they have problems.
Wow, like no means no or yes means yes. I'm just trying to think of what that's surprising to me. Honestly, like that's really surprising to me, because my kids have no problems in their romantic relationships. Although the older one's much better at that with everybody. I can see that with my younger.
You are a therapist, and you probably raised him to be a little bit more assertive. And a lot of parents don't necessarily talk to their children about romantic relationships.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
And so we as parents probably need to do a little bit better in talking to our youth about romantic relationships and being forthcoming. And if you think about it, a lot of times they just listen to songs. And the songs nowadays, they don't necessarily provide good advice when it comes to love. So if
Although I did
waiting
hear
on the
one
music.
song. Yeah, I heard one song. They were playing it quite a bit last month, and I don't know the name. I'm so sorry. But the lyrics were like, I don't want someone who, doesn't act well. I'm going to have to look for that song now. But that was good. I was like, wow, those are good lyrics. Like people are like thinking about, no, I don't want that. Yes, I want that. So that's good. But maybe that'll be a theme song for them. It is true. I told my kids, and I'll do this now if you're following Dr. Tiffany's suggestion to teach your kids a little more. This is one of the most valuable things, and I love it when my kids like will whip it out for their friends. So in any relationship, if you are doing half of the work to make that relationship work, and the other person is doing this, which is just a little bit of work, the temptation is, see, siren, truth. The temptation it okay, I know it is the truth.
We can't hear you.
I was muting the siren and I didn't figure out I was muting myself. That's hilarious, Dr. Marissa. Okay. So if you're in a relationship and you're making a half effort, right? Doing half of the chores, doing half of the planning, and that person is sort of like little bit of whatever. Like you have to say I love you 10 times before they say I love you too. Or you're paying 9 times and they're paying once, whatever that is. That's not a good relationship, right? So you go half, they go half, that's a good relationship. So how much are you giving?
Absolutely. And they gave examples of how to set how to set boundaries. They said, number one, reflect on your needs. Consider what is within your control and what isn't. So start by identifying what needs you have and how others behavior impacts you. Two, focus on your actions. Frame your boundaries around you, what you will do, not what others must do. For example, if you raise your voice, I will end the conversation is a boundary. Communicate clearly. Share your boundaries directly with the people involved and be consistent. Enforce your boundaries consistently so people understand your limits, and be flexible. Recognize that boundaries can change over time and may need to be adjusted as circumstances changed.
Real good. Lots of examples in that. For me, I have finally stopped being irritated by people who don't text quickly. I used to see it as a disrespectful thing when they say I'll let you know and then they don't let you know, or they say they'll get back to you and they don't get back to you. It's not that they don't get back to you. They don't get back to you in the time that you want them to get back to you. And it is not personal, because I used to go, oh, if you loved me or if you respected me, you would, should. And I appreciate that I've finally gotten to that point of it ain't personal. And at the same time, it's my choice whether I want to interact with them or not. That's on me, right?
Absolutely.
But they're, opposites attract. If you cannot have someone who's just like you, because it'll drive you crazy. I'm really having to force myself to challenge some of my BS, my belief systems that have kept me romantically unentangled, and with the only date I have is my 95-year young bonus dad, although that's fun watching the Dodgers last night. Yeah, everyone. I don't, I have this BS belief system that if you don't feel chemistry right away, then it's not going to work. And so I'm challenging all of those things to widen this, otherwise I'm going to shut down dating for good, because this past year was my trial experiment, and it failed because I'm, not successfully, I mean, not in a loving relationship that I wanted, but I also have been using some old rules that may not be serving me well.
Mm-hmm. And they came up with like a mnemonic, like 4 C's or maybe 5 C's of boundaries: clarity, communication, consistency, confidence, and courage. And when you look at it that way, these self principles can help guide you. And I know it's hard to constantly evolve and have that self assurance. And as I say this to you, I'm also saying this to me. So I'm preaching to the choir and to myself, because it's hard to evolve, but it's something that we have to constantly do, because life is dynamic. So we have to be dynamic with it. And we have to be that blossoming figure. And as we blossom, our boundaries must blossom with it. And we cannot let people treat us any kind of way. And we have to know what our limits are. And we have to rise up and advocate for ourselves and know who we are, whose we are, and what we represent.
Yeah, you answered my question, because I wasn't sure why confidence was one of them. But I understand from what you just said that it's all about, do you think you are worthy enough to have boundaries? That's the first question. Like, are you good enough to have boundaries? And the answer is a resounding yes. But if you're one of the 7 out of 10 of us who grew up with childhood trauma, you know, I I was not allowed to express a boundary. And if I did, I got the hand, not this hand. I got a very clear slap to know that, by saying, don't do that, right? So to
Mhm.
learn this skill, which is very much tied to happiness and personal mastery, to say, hold on, the world doesn't revolve around me. However, uh, this space I can keep safe for me, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, interesting.
And I noticed one thing that they said, like if you're like, well, I don't really know what my boundaries are, is that your body will let you know. And I was like, your body will let you know. And it says to know your boundaries, pay attention to your feelings
Mm,
and physical reactions. I was like, your physical reactions? It said, yes, your physical reactions when they indicate discomfort, resentment, or stress, because they also reflect on your values, your needs, and what you're willing or unwilling to do or accept in different situations and relationships. And I was like, okay, sometimes you're around certain people or certain situations and you feel that uneasiness and you're like, okay, this person is not rubbing me the right way, or I really don't want to go along with this. I really don't want to do this. I really don't want to be touched like that. That's a boundary. And you may not know it, but you can verbalize those feelings and say, I don't want to do that. And it's okay to say what you don't want to do, or where
mhm,
you don't want to go, or where you don't want to be. It's okay to express those things, because that is your body expressing a boundary.
mhm. Yeah, that's great. The law of attraction work too, where, what am I feeling right now? If I'm not having a good feeling, to pay attention to that, and what's the thought that goes with that feeling that is making me not feel good, for sure. And then personally, the whole trying to make someone happy is a lesson that I was taught early, and I brought it into my adult life, and I picked a man that I tried to make happy who was not able to be happy. Same with my
Mhm.
mom, wasn't able to be happy, had nothing to do with me. But that is the only person that can make us truly happy is ourselves. So if you're a person putting down boundaries and expectations and rules and having that expectation from someone who's not able to, it is really one of those how many times does someone need to cross your boundary for you to go, whoa, 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 I am deserved of being with someone romantically who respects, and my hope is not, dashed every single time, right?
Mhm.
So there's the self part of that, the self-love part of that. We always come back to that, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And there are physical boundaries about your body, your privacy, your personal space. There are emotional boundaries in order to establish how you feel. There are sexual boundaries. There are intellectual boundaries, and there are financial boundaries. And it's okay to set them for yourself. And you can always look within you as you decide what it is you want to or not to do. Because as a physician, I have had a lot of people call me and ask me for financial help. Some people I have been able to help, some people I have not been able to help. And it is okay to say no. You know what you can and what you cannot do. And
Mhm.
there are healthy boundaries and there are unhealthy boundaries, and it's okay to set them.
Mm. Yeah, really important. If you loved me, you would is not what we're trying to advocate, not against, but it is, if I loved me, I would. Okay. So just making that switch, that was good. I like that. Right?
Mhm.
Moving from which we all grew up with, your parents, if you love me, you wouldn't do that. Or if you love me, you would do that. But the truth is, if I loved me, I would what? Right? Respecting your own, and your body knows, right? When you say something and it doesn't feel right, or someone says something and it doesn't feel right, that is your balance centered self going, whoa, Nelly, something in that communication is a little not respecting me, right? I know it's not respecting me. Case in point, on the phone with a prospective date, and he says, I've always been attracted to Asian women. And I went, "Ugh, I can't believe this is 2025 and people are still saying that, number one, in my head. So I said, you don't understand. I am not that traditional stereotype back in the day. I'm not cooking for you. I'm not cleaning for you. And the only way I'm going to walk on your back is with high heels on. Joke, right? Supposed to be a joke. He didn't laugh and said, my friends always say, why do you like Asian women? And Dr. Tiffanie, are you ready? You're sitting down. He
Mhm.
said, because my Asian women say, me love you long time. I
Oh,
swear.
talk about stereotypes.
uh, uh, and then I said, really? Like that? Wait, I got to get that. Because honestly, I did not make up this sound effect, but it does sound like me. Ready?
Really? Really?
Doesn't that sound like me?
Mhm.
But that's what I said. And guess what his response was? You
What?
got to have a sense of humor.
No, that is completely inappropriate.
And
That's
he wanted
completely
to keep
inappropriate.
talking. I'm like, this is not gonna work.
I'll be like, my kitchen's on fire. I have to go.
Your kitchen is gonna be on fire if we stay on the phone. But
Oh,
anyways, yeah, that was anyways, final word.
well, my final word is going to be a quote. And it says, it's by Brene Brown. And it says, daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves, even when we disappoint others.
Ooh, like that. Like that. My final word is, when people don't do or respect what you are, or if someone's asking you to do something, they're not trying to change you. They're just giving you feedback that you don't want them to get all over you. But feedback is just a communication saying, if you want to be in a relationship with me, could you consider this? That's all feedback is. We're not trying to change each other because you can't, but it is a communication of, it would make our lives a little bit easier if I can frame it like that, then boundaries, expectations, and rules become less push and angry to an invitation.
But relationships are about compromise. So you can't be like over here and over here. You do have to meet in the middle. So
yeah, the C word is not
right.
commitment.
We'll have to have a show about compromise. We will, if you expect a healthy relationship, we'll have to talk about compromise. That will be maybe we'll do next week's show about compromise, because
you can do that show yourself, because I don't have the C word either.
You definitely need some compromise. Maybe that'll be the next show, because America needs some compromise right now too, and relationships need compromise. Everybody needs a little compromise. We need to learn to meet in the middle, and if healthy relationships need to meet in the middle. You can't be over here be like, well, I want this and I want this.
I'm gonna hit the mute button on her. I have the control of the soundboard. Amazing. All right, I'm going to go out with an invitation to this weekend. Those of you who know, last weekend I went to Catalina Island to cover the jazz festival. It was amazing. This weekend I am not able to go because I have other work that I have to do to cover some carpets, and of course the Newport Beach Film Festival. So I can't go, but you can. And if you mention Asian Oprah giveaway at the ticket office with Tracy, you'll get $10 off. CatalinaJazzFest.com. Jazzfest.com. Go get your tickets. They've been a great sponsor. You'll get top shelf jazz, Gerald Albright, Eric Darius, Damien Escobar. I wish I could go. But that's it. It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. Dr. Tiffanie Tate, thank you so much for co-hosting this fabulous show. And it was on, what was the show about again?
You're so funny. It was about boundaries, rules, and expectations.
Thanks so much for joining us. Dr. Tiffanie, take us out.
Now go and have the best day ever.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa